I hope we're not actually. Shoot, are we actually? I think we're live now. Yeah, so we're having some technical issues here this morning. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I have no idea if we're live right now. We're just going to assume that we are. Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, we think. October 29th, 2024. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Dryden Wire founder Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, his locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. The number is right there on the screen. 715-520-2271.
I don't see us on Drydenwire or Facebook. Well, Dirk can see us, though.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We're having some technical issues.
Well, I don't see us on Facebook, though. Dirk, how are you watching us? On Facebook?
Well, it has to be on Facebook.
I go to Drydenwire Facebook, and it's not there.
What? Yeah, I don't know. We got this weird error right before we went live. And then we tried it again, and now, yeah, you are on Facebook. Well, what the frick? I don't know. Well, hey, we're on.
All right, we're on Facebook.
I guess. So, well, we'll see. Maybe there'll be another error. Hopefully not. Tomorrow I went to videos on your Facebook page. Maybe that's it. Is that where... you know what? We really need to start just switching over and doing this all on YouTube at some point. I'm so tired of Facebook.
All right.
Yeah, we'll try it. We'll see if we can get that done. Anyway, hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
I suppose you can't see any of the comments then.
I went to videos, but it's not on there. But you got to go to videos on Facebook. There we are. I see us. Huh.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Well, the big topic that I want to talk about today, you had said that you were hoping to get finished by 9:05. Was last week, if people recall, that you were on and said that you were out already busting bad guys at 4:30 in the morning, basically. But you really couldn't talk about it. And of course, later in the day, everybody ended up finding out what it was about. We had the story. The headline was Rice Lake man named in federal sex trafficking indictment with former Abercrombie Fitch CEO. I just scrolled my feed and you were there. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We're having some problems.
Cody, thanks. There you go.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll get to that, and honestly, that's probably going to be the bulk of our conversation because, you know, you're not the actual investigative agency on this one, so you can actually talk about it. So that'll be fun. To a degree. So let's get through our NFL picks for the week so we can get right into that. Here's an update after our picks through week 8. So obviously, you and I pick 4 random games every week, and this is where we are. 25 to 2. So I'm basically picking 3 out of the 4, right? And you're at about 2 out of the 4. But it's like I think the end of this week we're halfway through the season. So you still got plenty of time. So here's our picks for this week. This Thursday is the Texans and the Jets, and I don't understand this. The Texans are 6-2, the Jets are 2-6, and ESPN bet, so it's like the Vegas line. They have the Jets by 2.
That doesn't after last week's debacle.
I know. I don't get it. So I guess I'm technically picking an upset, and I'm going to go with the Texans.
I'm picking the Texans, too. The Jets are terrible.
Right? I don't understand how they have them favored.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I had to double check it. All right, next one is arguably the game of the week, if Jordan Love is playing, is the Lions and the Packers. Obviously, they're at Green Bay. The line has Detroit 3.5. I'll take the Lions. I've been all in on the Lions all year anyway. What about you?
I'm gonna take the Packers.
Yeah, I could see them winning that. Bears Cardinals. That was what's that?
I see that's the 3:25 game, so the Packers are late on Sunday, so that's good.
Yeah, and then the Bears, who had a terrible ending to that game, but they should have lost that game anyway. It did not come down to the last play. You know what I mean? It was not the last play, Hail Mary, that lost that game. They were terrible that game. But Bears and Cardinals, of course, I can't pick against the Bears, so I'm going to go with the Bears. But honestly, I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah, I'll take the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's probably smart. And then our dumpster fire game of the week.
There you go.
The Patriots and the Titans. I think this is probably the first time all year the Titans have been favored in the game. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Patriots.
That's what I was gonna go with. You know what? I'll take the line on this one. I'll go Titans.
All right. I should take the Jets, and then we'd be opposite all four. So
You
one
know
of
what?
us.
How about the? I'll take the Jets. Yeah,
No, okay. You
I'll take
take
the
the Jets.
Jets. Yeah, I'll take the
Opposite.
Jets, the Lions. So all four. This is the first time that all four of ours are going to actually be different.
Yeah.
All right, so let's actually get to some really interesting topics, not our
There.
NFL picks. And remember, next week we're going to have to do our election predictions. Sure to go wrong.
That's right.
Oh my
The
goodness, I
following week
cannot wait.
going on.
I
So
cannot wait for this election to be over. All right, we'll get to our topics here in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
All right, so our headline was Rice Lake man named in federal sex trafficking indictment with former Abercrombie Fitch CEO. Again, if anyone watched the show last week, you had talked about that you had been out since several hours before our show even started, and of course started at 8:30 in the morning. You're out since like 4:35 in the morning, but you really couldn't talk about it. Then we found out what this was. For people who didn't see that, and this was like world headline news.
yeah,
I mean, it was crazy. For people who didn't see that, what was that about?
the FBI came to town. We were alerted in a week. The prior to last Tuesday was on the week prior to the last Tuesday. We were alerted by the FBI that they wanted to come here and then they needed our assistance for our case. We assigned a detective to that case. Ultimately, an arrest warrant was issued, and they called us last Monday and said, "Hey, we got an operation. We're going to take down a major player. It's a large, high-profile case. We need your assistance." They told us the name of the guy locally. Didn't ring any bells to me offhand, but it had to do with Abercrombie Fitch CEO and some sex trafficking. I'm like, well, big deal. So we met at 5 a.m. with the FBI out of New York. They came here along with our local FBI agents, and we issued an arrest warrant, or an arrest warrant was issued for Mr. Jacobson, who is a Rice Lake resident, lives just outside the city of Rice Lake. And he was taken into custody by the FBI, taken immediately to federal court in Minneapolis or St. Paul, I believe it was. And he was indicted on charges. He was then taken to New York, or flew to New York, or went to New York. I don't know. He was released on $500,000 bond, cash bond. Yeah. And Jeffries was released on a $10 million cash bond out of Florida. These warrants were done simultaneously by the FBI with our support. Our team provided support to them. This was an FBI operation. This wasn't a Barron County Sheriff's Department operation. We were strictly in a support role, assisting them as they assist us with things.
So you get the call and you hear that it's a big deal. Is it because it's the FBI? Do you add extra people on for this, or is it no? We're gonna prioritize the regular amount of people that we would do for something like this, or is it we kind of want to show off a little bit for the FBI because they're in town? Let's get everybody, call everybody in.
No, I think my chief deputy and I were at the warrant, but we go to most warrants just to know what's going on in our operations. So I don't think we had our detectives in, and we had 2 patrolmen in. And this was a profile case. It was a coordinated effort with the FBI from Florida to Rice Lake. Kind of unique. I got asked the question a lot. Did you think you'd be on national news this much? I got a call from my friend in California and says, "Hey, you're on the news out here." And I'm like, "Oh, great." So
that was the next thing I want to get to is what kind of calls did you get? Because again, this is another national story. It seems like Barron County has a few of these. This is not your first rodeo, as it were.
Yeah.
So what kind of calls were you getting, and how about this? What kind of questions were you getting asked? Because again, this is not your investigation. You were just there. I would assume they'd be calling the FBI and or the DOC or the DOJ or the United States Attorney's Office. So when they're asking you, what are they looking for?
Our connection to Rice Lake, how a small town gets tied into a national case. This is a big deal. This is you can say all these are alleged, but the FBI doesn't do things like this. The criminal complaint was attached. You read it. It's 16 pages long. It's very graphic. It's very detailed.
I know.
This was a very detailed operation from an arrest standpoint, and a very well put together case from years. And, there's 15 John Does, which are victims. They call them John Does in the federal system. And they had an operation that was international. And to be part of something like that, I'll admit, it was kind of cool. It's sad, but it's kind of cool. I'm a big FBI fan. I love the FBI. I've wanted to be in the FBI since I was 5 years old. And, that part is kind of cool to me. From a cop standpoint, it's really sad, the trafficking part of this. I'm angry. I mean, I think it's
very disturbing.
This guy was in our backyard, and I didn't know it. That makes me angry. I don't like that. Now, we don't think he was doing anything local, but I'm sure the heck going to find out if he was doing anything local. And I've had people say he's a nice guy and he went to church, and that's great. But this guy's part of an international operation where they trafficked people and did things to them that are unimaginable.
Let's be clear. When we're talking about people, what are we really talking about? Are they talking about young boys?
No, we're talking about adult boys.
Adult males.
Adult males. So, yeah, I mean, and it's very graphic. I had somebody call me yesterday and say, I don't think you should put that post on Facebook. I'm like, we put all our posts on Facebook. You get the same thing, and it wasn't to embarrass the person. It was to let people know, hey, they yelled FBI outside of this guy's house for 25 minutes with the siren blowing, and it woke up all the neighbors. And people were like, what's going on? I'm like, well, the FBI's in town, and I can't talk about it right now. I mean, you got FBI tack vests and FBI running around town, and that's something that we tell people about in Barron County. And it wasn't, again, to embarrass anybody, but I also want to know if there's local victims. The only way to ask people if there's local victims out there is to release information so that we can figure it out. Again, no local victims have come forward yet. If there's any victims for any crimes, and that's the push we're making. I'm going to Eau Claire on Thursday to talk with it's called Fierce Freedom. It's a sexual assault, sex trafficking group out of Eau Claire we've worked with before. They're very good. They're going to go down and we're going to talk on a podcast about this because this only raises awareness for victims. And I think, me and I know you, and we always try to find the positive in everything we do. And there's going to be positive in this. There's a bad guy. He's going to go to prison. These are life sentences. These aren't like, I might get 6 months in the county jail.
6 years in, 6 years out. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, this is when he gets convicted, he will spend the rest of his life in jail when he gets convicted. And again, the FBI doesn't do press conferences 35 minutes after the arrest if they aren't 100% sure to put on national news to get a CEO of a major company that's invested $1 million in these operations. I have no idea. I don't know. I know the details of the case only from the same criminal complaint that every other person read in America. I know no other details of this case except what was in that criminal complaint. Mm-hmm. That criminal complaint, you don't have 16-page criminal complaints either.
Well, actually, it was. Yeah, that was the indictment, and
the indictment. I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's fine. But still, you usually don't even see a 16-page indictment.
Right.
But that was. I'm not gonna lie. I actually couldn't finish it, and that was one of the first times in a long time I couldn't finish something. I just skimmed through. I should say I did finish it, but I had to skip over some parts, and we normally don't put that stuff in. There's a reason that we do when we do original crime of court story articles, we get the criminal complaint, and then we leave a. When I say we leave stuff out, that's not to slant it or make it. We leave out certain details that we just don't think should be in there. Now, it should be in the criminal complaint or an indictment, but that stuff there's some things in there that I think make people very uncomfortable. So we try to put as much in as needed, but we leave out some of the graphic details. So we usually don't. That's why we don't actually publish the criminal complaints in our stories. But in this one, if law enforcement sends out an indictment or a criminal complaint, you've done that before. It's very rare, but you have sent out a press release and attached a criminal complaint because you want everyone to read that criminal complaint. So if law enforcement actually attaches it, that means they want everyone to know. And that's their decision. So that's the only time that we put it in is if law enforcement adds it to their press release. But yeah, that was a tough read.
It was very tough. I mean, and it was very graphic. It was very detailed. It showed, and everybody's like, well, the guy in Rice Lake didn't have a bit. The guy in Rice Lake was in my opinion,
He was a player in that.
I don't have a say in this. I don't get a say. I get a say on how dangerous this was, and we didn't just walk up to the house and knock on the door. There's some danger to this. This guy was trafficking people. He was using his power and authority, and that's what, again, to the point of this, that if there's victims out there of any sexual assault, domestic abuse, this is what you do. You come forward. There's victim advocates. There's people that will help you. That's the good that's going to come out of this. Besides putting a bad guy away or several bad guys away. I mean, $10 million bond, $500,000 bond, no bond for the one guy because he might be a flight risk. When have you seen a case where there's no bond? I mean,
isn't that called remanded, or am I thinking of something else?
I mean,
right? Like you don't even get an opportunity to leave. You're remanded. You have to stay here.
Right.
I don't think.
Might leave the country.
Holy cow!
This is a big deal.
Locally, I'm sure there has to have been one, but I don't know. I've been doing this for 9 years.
Yeah.
I can't recall ever seeing that.
Right.
I mean, even in the Kloss case, that was a $1 million or $2 million, $5 million. There you go, $5 million. You know what? You're right. I can't remember the last time. Right. I don't think we've ever done one locally that actually they were remanded.
And that's a judge saying this is serious enough that I'm saying you're a flight risk. You might go to a different country. Yeah. And he had dual citizenship. This Smith guy, I don't know nothing about him.
Sure.
But yeah, to have the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch tied to a case with Rice Lake, and this subject has been here for years. So he was here when he was doing some of these alleged operations, and I think it's just wrong. And I know people are his friend, and I've seen him around. I don't know the guy. I probably said hi to him because he's been at fundraisers that I've been at. Normal person. I heard he sang in church. Great. That's fine. But
that doesn't mean anything.
When he was doing all this, it's bad. There's some bad stuff here. And I'm not saying he was the main person. Obviously, Jeffries is. But you got to have partners of a crime. And, the other crime we're going to talk about is home invasion. You might be the car driver of the home invasion, but you're still guilty of the crime because you know what the person we're going in there to do. So you can't rob a bank and be the guy in the car. It's the same penalty if you drive the car or walk in the bank with the gun. It's the same thing. Now, the other guy might get a few more years for having the gun in the bank, but you're still robbing the bank even if you don't go in the bank.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem here. And I'm not saying don't be the guy's friend if you're his friend. I'm just saying the guy did bad things and we need to watch out. And and we got a couple tips about some things, and some people were upset that, that there might have been a local person here that he had contact with, and we looked into that.
Good.
So yeah, that's our job.
Yeah, 100% right.
If people are offended by that, I guess that's too bad. I don't know what to tell you.
How would they be offended by that?
Because he's a nice guy and he'd never do that here.
Who cares?
Yeah.
No, that's the stupidest thing. I mean, some people you can just look and go, like there's a booking photo, and you go, yeah, that doesn't seem like it's unfortunate, but sometimes you can kind of judge a book by its cover, but a lot of times you can't, right? These are the normal people, and they're involved in this, and they're very active in the community. I'm not saying this individual was, but you just never know. And sure, you could go to church, you could sing in the choir that doesn't mean that,
Right.
I'm just saying.
No one's perfect. We're not saying you have to be perfect, but you don't traffic people.
You just don't know.
They were trafficking people, males, adults, using power and authority over them, and that's not good. Not enough.
You know what that is? It's one thing that you and I hate, and that's bullies. That's just it's a form of bullying. I mean, obviously to way worse degree. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's disgusting. Well, I'm glad you're a part of that. So now, do you get updates from the FBI after the fact, or is it we come in, you assist us, we're done, and see you bye, but we don't give you updates after that?
No, they don't give us. No, they don't give us updates, and and I'm not saying he was fooling anybody. He did fool us. I agree, Jody. He did fool us all, but hopefully he wasn't doing anything here. But this is, the reach of this case. From Rice Lake, Wisconsin to Paris and to New York and to LA this was an international case. I mean, if you look at the scope of what the FBI has done over the last few years, and this all stopped supposedly in 2014. And the only reason it stopped is because the victims are from 19 whatever to 2014. Maybe there's more victims. I can't believe there's that they stopped at
Right.
14. I can't believe they stopped in 2014 when he wasn't CEO anymore. Although he didn't have that power and, to give these guys what they wanted if they did certain things, allegedly again. But it's got to be pretty accurate. I mean, you just don't do what we did and not be like, I think these guys probably did this, so let's call the FBI and let's have a press conference in New York and let's arrest a CEO and then let's have court on Friday. Now, they were all arraigned on Friday in New York, and I don't know the outcome of that. I'll have to watch the news, but they were all arraigned and obviously found to be true, and they'll have a trial if they want to have a trial. I mean, they get a chance to defend themselves, but I'm sure a deal will be cut and there'll be some convictions, my guess. So,
well, and thankfully, I don't know, thankfully, but I know the Rice Lake individual. I left my phone outside, so I can't look it up. But I believe he was like 71, and I can't remember the ages of the other two.
81, 71, 61.
Yeah, so even if there are quote unquote deals cut, they're still spending the rest of their natural lives in prison. I mean, assuming that they're going to take a plea or whatever happens, assuming they're guilty, which we don't know, but I mean, whatever, allegedly. You're old enough at this point. I don't think they're getting out of jail or prison.
Right, it'd be different if there's one victim and you think you made it up, because some people, there's victims that make stories up.
That's true.
Hopefully not. But there has been cases like that where victims have made things up. But
are they really victims at that point then?
Well, right, true. Then they made it up. They're not really a victim. Correct.
Right.
You are correct. But there are also victims that don't come forward. And I think there's probably more victims that come forward than these 15. So if you are a victim, that's 1-800-CALL FBI. They made a hotline for this case. And that's what they want people to come forward. And I think that's the main point that I want to get through. Yeah, this is great. The FBI came here and arrested a guy, but there's victims out there. We care about victims. You don't have to tell the police. And I think that's a good point that I'm going to make on Thursday. And I've made to a few national news organizations that interviewed me about this, is that you don't have to talk to the police about this. You can talk to victim advocates. Our job is to help victims. If you want to talk to us so we can convict somebody, we'd be happy to. But our main focus is the victim first. The victim needs help. We'll help the victim. So it was a big deal. It was sad. But if you take that part away, we helped the FBI on an international case. And I guess I should have wrote a book, but we could have done that, put it out on a book. And I should have wrote a book, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what you should do.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, when you talk to national media, it's probably a little bit different than local media, WAU, WQW, Dryden Wire, your papers down in Barron, because they know you. And it's just a little different, I'm assuming. Or isn't it? When you talk to national media, they ask pretty much the exact same questions everybody else asks. And from my understanding, they quote me correctly and they're not doing it. It's kind of the same, but you realize that I'm talking to national media, not local media. Is it different for you? And do they ask different kinds of questions, or what is that like?
It's probably different, but they ask the same questions and I give the same answer. I've never said, I'm going to save this for local or I'm going to save it for Dryden Wire. I mean, I get to say more on this show, but but my press release is the exact same to you as it is to anyone else. And if anybody else calls, I answer their question, say, hey, can you verify this? So no, I don't think it's any different. My answer is not any different. I think they have a different spin because they're selling it to a national audience and you're selling it to a local audience. So we talk more about locals, but I got asked, all the Twin Cities, what's it like having an international crime guy in your backyard? I mean, that was the question I got asked a lot. I mean,
really?
This is
how do you spell? I mean, what was the question?
International crime right in your backyard. This guy's a suspect.
Don't like it. Duh. I mean, was like, hey, that's awesome. No, I mean it's just a dumb question.
But what is it like catching an international guy?
Oh, catching an okay.
What? It's not like it's So
okay.
This is an international story. And a lot of them again. Over my 17 years as your sheriff, I've had a lot of contacts and I have a lot of friends. I don't know, they're friends, they're colleagues, they're people that call me on the phone and they're all from all over, So I still have some international or some national contacts out there, and so they called and asked me questions, and I did, and I'm not afraid to talk about it, and
You've always been transparent, and again, we don't rehearse these shows. It really is live. I mean, we know the topics that we're going to talk about, but we don't really know. And Brian Melton, I think you're watching the wrong video podcast, buddy. I don't think that's anything to do with anything that we're doing. I think you're watching the wrong one. I think you're supposed to be, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. We could talk a lot more about this, and maybe we will in the future. I know you want to kind of get this wrapped up by 9:05, but I wanted to make sure we talked about this other one because we had an update. So our headline was second man sentenced for Barron County, December 2023 violent home invasion. The first one was we talked about like 2 or 3 weeks ago because they were sentenced, and if I recall, we were giving Judge Lawton, all right, he's 1 for 1, right? We liked his sentence on that one. So here's kind of the short version. Ryan Carpentier and Ricardo Dominguez have each received criminal charges following the 2023 incident. Previously, Judge Lawton ordered Carpentier to serve a 12-year sentence with 5 years in, 7 years out. Now, Dominguez entered a plea. The other person had just, I think it was last week, entered a plea of guilty to his charge of Class C felony armed robbery, increased penalty for an elderly person victim, use of dangerous weapon, and a party to a crime. The remaining charges against him were dismissed but read in. You and I have talked about how important that is regarding the it's still being read in. It's not just dismissed. It is, but it isn't. The Honorable Judge Maureen Boyle ordered Dominguez to serve a 20-year sentence. The sentence will be served concurrently with a sentence that he was already serving in a Minnesota conviction. So it'll be 12 years in and 8 years out, plus $16,000 in restitution. I don't know when they're going to pay that or how he's going to pay that, but 20 years for this second person. What are your thoughts?
Judge Boyle showed up Judge Lawton. No, I think it has to do with the context of the crime. It's no different than one, and I don't know their whole details. One was maybe the driver, one was the guy that, typed them up. They're different roles, so you could have some different. It's the same crime, but you get them different penalties. So, and that just shows you. I mean, again, go back to the other case. I mean, even though I'm not the head guy here, I'm a support role in this trafficking. It's the same crime. They charge them with the same thing, and obviously, one guy got $10 million, one got $500,000 in the bonds just because of the role they played in it. And one was a leader, one was a follower, so to speak. So, we have all that. So, yeah, no, I'm happy with it. I think it's great. I think Barron PD did a wonderful job on that case and getting the convictions. I think that should be celebrated. I think they did a wonderful job. We helped very briefly with that case. But Chief Joe did a great job, and Barron and his people did a good job of putting that case together. Our district attorney did a great job. That's police work. That's a serious crime.
And that's how the whole system works, right? Like, it seems like these are great. These are the success stories. I mean, it was a horrible situation.
Terrible.
But this is how it's supposed to work. Law enforcement does their job and does it to the best of their ability. And so the district attorney has enough, right? I mean, it has to work that way to be able to charge that person. And I understand that some people don't like the pleas, but that's we've talked about that before. That's just how a lot of this stuff works.
Right.
But everything seemed to work, because what I don't like is when you and I talk about the sentences and you and I are just kind of scratching our heads.
Yeah.
Like, what now? What? Yeah. And the state only asks for what? Why? And we're not always in the room for all of these things. But some of them are just, obviously there must be a lot more going on, because that doesn't make any sense. Why is that person only getting whatever? I also liked the sentence. So,
me too.
There was another one, but I don't have my phone with me, so I can't remember. It was a court sentences man on felony conviction for seizure of 169 grams of meth. I think the Barron County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit was involved in that. I just can't remember what the actual sentence was.
Yeah, it was like 6 years or something. I think it was a pretty good.
It was quite a bit for a drug.
Yeah. It was a good sentence for some major drugs out of Turtle Lake. The guy had some criminal convictions, and I think your past, catches up with you on this one, and said, you didn't learn the first time whether he was a Minnesota conviction or not. And our judges put the hammer down and said, not in Barron County.
I know.
I think we need more of that. I think we do a good job. I think we're getting there. We've talked the last, 5, 6, 7 shows, we've seen some great movement in the justice system
Yep.
to show bad guys, and I think that's good police work, good district attorneys and
Yep.
judges saying, enough is enough. We're going to keep our county safe. So, I mean, I know we get frustrated once in a while, but we also praise when praise is deserved. And again, from the Turtle Lake Police Department to the district attorney's office, great job again by
everyone.
by
Yeah, you guys are killing it down there. Must be an election year. I'm just kidding. There's no elections this fall for the people
district
we just
attorney.
mentioned.
Yeah, Brian's up. There's district attorney, clerk of courts, and not clerk of courts, county clerk and treasurer. Our local election.
Does Brian Wright, the DA, have a challenger?
No, he doesn't.
See what I mean? Nobody wants these jobs. Our district attorney in Washburn, same thing. Like nobody wants these jobs anymore.
Right. So district attorneys are up in the whole state. County clerks are up in the whole state. Red Ribbon Week, don't do drugs. Perfect. The guy's a poster child. Don't do drugs or you end up in prison. So
what's Red Ribbon Week?
It's a drug. It's a high school thing. And don't do drugs. Don't do alcohol. Don't do smoke. Don't. Just a good. It's a fun thing. Red Ribbon Week. It's called.
Oh, cool. Tomorrow says give those canine units tons of recognition. Love the canines. My 15-year-old daughter is determined to become a canine handler.
They get plenty of treats. Don't worry.
You see that? Her 15-year-old daughter is determined to become a canine handler officer.
Go. Perfect.
What advice would you give her to tell her daughter? Don't do it.
Drugs.
Oh, don't do drugs.
Don't do it. Do it. One job, it takes a lot of work and effort. So put your time and effort in because a canine is probably the toughest job in a law enforcement career is having a canine.
Okay. We're putting a pin in that. We're absolutely talking about that on an upcoming show. I want to know more about that. Why in the world would a canine? Yeah. We only have 2 minutes left. I want to get up our official weather man, Dirk Miller's forecast. Today, 75 to 80. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Sunny, of course, some showers and storms tonight. Or probably showers and storms tomorrow. Looks like it's 65 and falling. Uh-oh. Yeah. What does that say on Thursday? Does that say snow showers?
Yeah, it could. Of course, on Halloween. It's nice out every day except Halloween when the kids want to go trick-or-treating. I hate it. It's always cold. I think last year was pretty nice on Halloween. But
I'm not going to question God on how he wants to run the universe and the earth. But, when I get to heaven, I have some questions. I do. Just say, I'm not telling you how to run your business, but yeah, right. And then Friday, 40 to 50. Oh, that looks like Friday's going to be a nice day. Oh, Saturday, chance of showers. And again, this is just the forecast. Weather changes all the time. If you want any up-to-date information or all of the update information, just find Dirk Miller on his Facebook page. He's got everything for you. He is the best. Tomorrow says that she's a dog whisperer. I swear she's meant for. That's awesome. I mean, Fitzy was born. As soon as he was born, like he was like given from the doctor like a law enforcement badge immediately. And he was born at the age 40. It was just, some people, they just know right away. I know what I want to do forever. And that's great because 2 of our kids, they still don't know what they want to do. And they're in high school. Like, I don't really know. So that's awesome. Cool. And thank you, Dirk. There's Dirk. Just click on his thing and go to him. You can find all that information right there. So, all right. Next week, we will be doing our election predictions. Sure to go wrong.
1 week left, people. Just get your mail and throw it away. Get your text messages. And
I've literally been saving them all just in the last week, and I have a stack over there, like almost 2 inches thick now. Yeah.
Mine was this thing. I should have saved them all. People have. It's going to be great.
Oh.
But there's a lot of money being spent. Good luck.
A lot of money. Good night. All right, for Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Dryden Wire founder Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Give them a call today and see what they can do for you. Numbers right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitz and I are taking a 6-day, 23-hour, and 25-minute break until next week's show. So until then, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.